Oh hey guys, thanks for watching my video. So, EA have fairly recently decided to give us a little idea of what's in store for us in the summer in terms of future packs. And I've heard through the grapevine that one of the future packs will contain a brand new occult. Now whether this is actually true or just hearsay, I guess will be answered at the time. But for now, I'm going to take that idea of a new occult and run with it. So before we do or do not get a new occult in the game, I thought I'd make a little video just to briefly recap on the occults we already have in The Sims 4. Occults have been a part of the Sims franchise for years now, and love them or hate them, they do bring a taste of something different to the game. So, in this video, we're going to be looking at all the different types of occults you get in The Sims 4. Let me know in the comments which one's your favourite. So let's start off small. Skeletons. First introduced in the Jungle Adventure game pack, skeletons are pretty boring. Let's be honest. Skeletons are not playable long term without a cloning machine, but your Sims can temporarily become a skeleton if they use one of the relics. Of course, alternatively, you can just use cheats and add a skeleton to your family and control them that way. When your Sim is a skeleton, you get special interactions like scaring other Sims or telling skeleton jokes. Speaking of relics, if your Sim has the right one, they can summon a skeleton into their lot and the skeleton will do their housework, take care of their kids, and just be generally really helpful. The skeleton occult made a return in the paranormal stuff pack in the form of Bonehilda, a classic Sims character from previous games, who can be summoned using the seance table. Once Bonehilda appears, you can add her to the family using a cheat and just play as her. The only real issue is that because skeletons were not made to be playable characters, it does mean that they look a bit strange in Create a Sim, and their genetics won't carry over if you cheated offspring. For example, Bonehilda wouldn't have a skeleton baby. Moving on to ghosts. Ghosts aren't technically playable. However, if you use cheats, you can add a ghost to the family. Alternatively, if you want to put the graft in, you can build a high enough relationship with the ghost and invite them to join your household. The ghosts show up in different colours. The colour that they appear in represents their emotional state. So for example, if a ghost is feeling angry, they'll appear in red. If they're embarrassed, they'll be yellow. And if they're feeling frisky, they'll be pink. Ghosts have special abilities too, like they can go through walls, they can possess objects, they can scare Sims. Ghosts can also woohoo with one another, and they can even give a Sim a woohoo with a ghost mood buff. Their voices are different from other Sims as well. They sound really echoey when they speak, almost like they're in the bathroom. And one really interesting thing about ghosts is their ability to do things based on how they died. So for example, a Sim that died of fire will be able to start fires as a ghost. A Sim that was electrocuted will be able to shock other Sims as a ghost, which is pretty funny. You get the idea. Next up, Spellcasters. Spellcasters came with the Realm of Magic pack, and although we've had things like witches and wizards in previous games, this time they really came fleshed out in The Sims 4 with an entire game pack dedicated to this occult. Spellcasters can be made in Create a Sim, and also Sims can become spellcasters by travelling to the magical world and building up a strong enough relationship with one of the sage Sims. There is a small world of Glimmerbrook, where a few spellcasters live, and then there's a portal that goes to the magical world where the spellcaster Sims can learn their craft and battle it out on the dueling grounds. There's an entire development system in the game where your spellcaster can earn perks and rewards by completing spells, gaining knowledge and increasing their rank as a spellcaster. Your spellcaster Sim will have a spellbook that shows you all of the spells that your Sim has learned. Some spells are acquired from research and some from getting information from the Sage Sims. There are 3 types of magic and 3 different sages that represent each type. The more that your Spellcaster Sim learns, the more powerful they become. And of course, the more powerful of a spellcaster they are, the better chance they have of winning a duel. Spellcasters also become more powerful when they build up enough charge, which is displayed in the magical globe where the Sim's needs are. When it's over halfway full, that's when the spellcaster's magic is most powerful, but if it gets too high, it can cause your Sims to die from being overcharged. Aww. And then we have vampires. Vampires too can be created in Create a Sim. And just like the Spellcasters occult, vampires were introduced with their very own game pack and came just as fleshed out as well. Sims can become vampires in Create a Sim, or if they're bitten by a vampire. They have two looks, their everyday, relaxed vampire look, and the slightly more intense, scary, dark side of the vampire. While in gameplay, vampires can also turn into bats to get around. Again, similar to Spellcasters, vampires have a development system in the game that determines what level of superiority your vampire is, along with perks and curses that you've unlocked. The best place to find a vampire is Forgotten Hollow, the world that comes with the Vampires pack. It's a dark, spooky world where vampires will feel most at home. Vampires prefer the darkness and want to avoid the natural light at all costs. If your vampire is caught out in the sun, they will surely perish. In terms of needs, vampires will have a thirst that can only be quenched in two ways. Either they can feed off other Sims and drink their blood, or they can go to the local tree to get their vegetarian version. Some vampires don't want to hurt Sims, and that's okay. Speaking of needs, when it comes to shut-eye, vampires will prefer to rest in a coffin rather than a bed, and of course sleeping is not the only thing vampires can do in a coffin. Then there are aliens. Aliens were introduced in The Sims 4 Get to Work, so they were one of the first occults to be introduced to the game, along with the hidden world of Sixam, which is in space, and it's also where you're guaranteed to meet some extraterrestrial chums. Of course, you don't have to travel all the way to space to see aliens. They often wander around the normal worlds as well, although you probably won't recognise them because they're pretty sneaky in The Sims 4. Aliens can disguise themselves as normal Sims, so you can't tell if an alien is around. You can create aliens in Create a Sim, so you can alter their appearance as aliens and also in their disguises. Aliens have a few unique abilities that other Sims don't have. For example, they can analyse the personality of other Sims' traits, and they can also feel the emotions of other Sims. They can probe the minds of other Sims and erase their minds. I told you they were sneaky! And how can I talk about occults without mentioning mermaids? A life state that used to be my favourite in The Sims. Mermaids were introduced with The Sims 4 Island Living, and they can be created in Create a Sim, or you can turn your existing sim into a mermaid by ingesting mermaidic kelp. You can't tell if a sim is a mermaid on land, as they don't have any obvious giveaways like it did in the previous games. The mermaid's tail will only show when the sim is in some kind of body of water. The needs of a mermaid are more or less the same as normal sims, except they have a need to keep hydrated. Mermaids have a few special abilities that sims don't have, so they can talk to fish, they can call on a dolphin, they can swim faster and scuba dive. Mermaids can be good or bad, and they also have special powers. For example, there's the Siren's Call, where the mermaid will entice a sim to come nearby, and when they do, the mermaid will drag them underwater. There's also the Summon Ocean Threat power, where the mermaid will sing a little song, and then black mass will open up underneath the targeted sim, and it will drag them down. Mermaid sims can live in other worlds, however their abilities can only really be used in Sulani, as that's the only place where sims can swim in water. They're slightly more limited in that sense, as most of the other occults can still use their powers outside of their worlds. Then there's the plant sim. Plant sims cannot be made in Create a Sim and are not a full-time life state. If your sim becomes a plant sim, it will only be temporary. For a sim to become a plant sim, they have to complete a challenge so that they can grow a magical tree. They need to collect 6 magic beans. And these magical beans represent the 6 emotional states: flirty, confident, sad, tense, playful, angry, and uncomfortable. Once they get the beans, they can plant them in the magical stump, and before you know it, a magical tree will bloom. Your sim will then go through the tree portal, and when they come back, they will have forbidden fruit in their inventory. When they eat the forbidden fruit, it will turn your sim into a plant sim for 5 days, which will give them a plant sim mood buff, and will turn them green. Kind of like a plant, I suppose. If your sim does things that are somewhat plant related, so if they go and talk to a tree or if they water a tree, their leaves will sprout temporarily and then they'll just go back to normal. They're a bit boring, really, I'll be honest. And then finally, we've got robots. Robots, also known as servos, are a life state that was introduced with The Sims 4 Discover University. They also can't be made in Create a Sim, but they can be crafted by Sims with a high enough robotics skill. Once a servo has been crafted, your sim can assign it a gender and switch it on. Once it's been booted up, it will be added to your household and will be fully controllable. Servos can have romantic relationships with either other sims or other robots. You'll even get a sexy buff from Woohoo with them. And obviously, with the nature of them being robotic, probably a good idea to avoid water. Servos can live fairly similar lives to Sims. They can get jobs and bring in some cash for the family, although they can malfunction from time to time and may require some technical assistance. But otherwise, they're good to go. They can also be leveled up by Sims with a high enough robotics skill. The more a servo is leveled up, the better it will be at doing things like self-charging, providing surveillance, taking care of the kids, and lots more. And those are the main occults in The Sims 4. There may be strange creatures or occults in Journey to Batuu. I really don't know, because I'm not paying for it. So if you have it, please do let me know in the comments if there's anything in there that I might have missed. But on that note, I'm going to end this video here. Let me know in the comments which occult is your favourite. Mine is the Spellcaster. Bye-bye.